This is Phil Friedman for PFO Media Group. There were so many unusual and memorable things that occurred in the year 2015 for outdoorsmen and fishermen in Baja California and Southern California. But perhaps one of the greatest was Joel Smith's accomplishment as he speared a 413-pound blue marlin off San Diego. Joel is here now to tell us more about this incredible encounter. Hey, on the line now we have Joel Smith from San Diego. And Joe, you are the man. I am so impressed. A 413-pound blue marlin that you took spearfishing. I can't wait to hear about it, but welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing good, man. Are you still on cloud nine?
Yeah, still having, still sinking in. Definitely, having flashes of just little different scenarios of throughout the experience.
I can only imagine. All right. Well, take us back to that day. First of all, you weren't going out to shoot a 413-pound blue marlin. What were you doing? What, you were looking for kelps and looking for whatever kind of fish to shoot?
Yeah. Basically, there's been a lot of Dorado, mainly on the patties, so that's pretty much what we've been getting, angling and spearfishing. Lots of smaller grade yellowfin, lots of Dorado, and occasional yellowtail. Some bigger grade, tuna as well, but I was pretty much mainly thinking we were just going to get some Dorado.
And so you get out there and tell me, you found a kelp. I think you were near some sport boats when you first started, weren't you?
Yeah, we found these sport boats were on a big kelp, and they were catching a lot of the smaller grade yellowfin, 5 to 8, maybe 10-pound grade. We kind of came up on the patty and made a drift. We landed one nice Dorado and a couple smaller yellowfin, and then decided to move off and find our own patty. And we did maybe like 20 minutes later, and we angled two Dorado really quick. And the captain of the boat, he'd always wanted to jump in the water, with me and spear his own fish. He'd never done it. I'm always the one diving, and he's always the one live boating me. But my dad was with us, so he took over the boat, and my buddy and I, we jumped in. I got him all set up, and he speared his first Dorado, right off the bat. He was super stoked. So that in itself, was a banner day. First Dorado ever, first shot ever at a Dorado, and he got it. So I got him back to the boat, and then I got back in the water, to get another one. They had kind of moved off, but I figured they'd come back. So I was just hanging out, kind of patrolling the perimeter of the patty. And maybe 10, 15 minutes later, 3 or 4 little small yellowfin came up right up under it. And we're kind of just hanging out with these really small yellowtail. So I made my way back to them, and just as I was about to make the dive to take a shot, this marlin comes just blasting straight up, from the deep, and, basically making a shot, focusing in, honing in on these little yellowfin for lunch himself. And right when he gets to them, about ready to eat them, he notices me and just does a complete 180 and just, swims straight at me. At first, I thought he was, coming at me with more of aggression, but then I realized it's more of, it's just kind of an aggressive sort of posturing, or more of a dominant posturing, like, this is my lunch, get away, this isn't I'm the apex predator here. So it came straight at me, and then just kind of went perfectly broadside to me, just really just checking me out. And it just presented itself with a perfect shot. And normally I would never take a shot on something that big. It was just kind of a calculated, I had it, and it was just there, it presented itself as really close. So I took it, and at first I thought I stoned it, because it completely just went lip, floated to the surface, belly up. And I was like, all right, good, I got it, I stoned it. But as I started swimming it back to the boat, it woke back up. So I pretty much think I just knocked it out. And all of a sudden, instead of me going towards the boat, I'm definitely going away from the boat, just getting dragged by this thing. And I was like, oh no, I'm going to lose it. And then it went back out. so it gave me time. I got it almost back to the boat. It woke back up again, and this time I'm holding onto the buoy, kind of, water skiing behind it for a little bit. And then it stopped one more time, and I figured this for sure would be the last chance I'd had to get it back to the boat. So I swam it back and just got there in time to, my dad gaffed the shooting line out of my hand. I just didn't give me enough time to get back in the boat, and then we had to hand line it. It took us probably close to 3 hours, running it down with the boat, hand lining it, just kind of doing a dance with it for in between 2.5 and 3 hours, and finally ended up, getting it. We kept it. We had other floats, we had other buoys, other lines on board in case, it really wanted to take one of those crazy sounding runs. But we didn't need him. We kept him on the short line. I had about 125 feet of line, a shooting line to a bungee to a hard line. And that was, enough, barely enough. And we ended up subduing him close to like 3 hours into it.
Joel, what a story. I want to go back to the attack, or when the Marlin was coming up on those tuna. That reminds me of a Polaris attack. They call a Polaris attack when a great white comes from the depths to consume some prey, like a Polaris missile. That must have been an awesome sight.
Oh yeah, it was. I've never seen a Marlin even. I've only seen one, jumping, down in like Costa Rica or in Central America before, but I've never actually, caught one or been that close, let alone in the water with it. And it was beautiful. The creatures are, you can just tell the sheer power, and they're made for what they do. They do it so well.
Yeah, and when it turned and faced you, you say that you realized that it was posturing, but was there at any point where you were in fear for your life? Were you scared at any point?
It happened so fast. It was kind of like one, I had a thought, like either, I'm gonna, for definitely, I guess I'd have to say, for a split second, I thought, I was a threat to its food, so it was gonna kind of like poke me away, maybe not really, really hurt me, but make me know for a fact that I shouldn't be around there,
For sure, and I understand what you're saying about things happening so fast, and you don't have time to compute like, blue marlin are incredibly fast swimmers. They can swim up to 60 miles an hour. They can reach up to 2,000 pounds, not that this one was that big. And, of course, when they hunt, they use their spear to inflict injuries on fish, and that's how they hunt. So, man, that must have been that when you came face to face with that, there must have been a primal yanking at the back of your neck saying, oh, my God, I'm in trouble here.
Yeah, there was a little bit of that going through my head. And then also, as I saw it, and then it kind of, I realized it was more just really just taking a good look at me, kind of more of a curious effect. More of, showing, flexing its dominance. But and then at that point, I didn't think it was going to actually, try and do anything towards me. And it just really happened so fast. It was like came at me, went broadside. I saw the perfect shot, and I took it, and that was it.
Oh, Joel, and then the other thing that I noticed, you said, I think when it was giving you a little bit of a ride there, your major fear was you were going to lose the thing. You at no time mentioned, hey, I'm in fear for my life or something might go wrong here. You really, after you had shot this creature, you really wanted to get it, didn't you?
Yeah. I am not into just killing these creatures. You know what I mean? I eat everything and keep everything. I would feel so bad if I killed it, and lost it. And just, I really wanted to make sure. You're killing this beautiful creature. You got to show respect to it and do it justice, and get it properly processed and all of that.
When it first showed up to eat the tuna and it looked at you, was it lit up? Was it all fluorescent? Did you get to see that?
I did. It was that. That's actually one thing I left out. It was like electric violet, like almost like a color you've never really seen. It's almost like a surreal color. It's weird. Yeah, like an indigo violet blue.
Wow. I mean, incredible. And have you had a chance to eat any of it? I have had blue marlin. My son caught one down in the East Cape that was foul hooked and died during the battle. So I've had blue marlin, and it's some of the best fish I've ever had.
Yeah, we took it straight to Point Loma Seafood, and it's actually being smoked as we speak.
Well, I might have to come down and see you and do this interview in person when that fish is all smoked up, if you know what I mean, Joel.
Yeah, you're more than welcome.
Hey, and another thing, I'm curious about the reaction that you have received from other anglers, other spear fishermen. I mean, this is a modern day, old man in the sea, as far as I'm concerned. Have you had mostly positive reaction? Any negative reaction?
That was actually one of my fears. I was kind of just keeping it under wraps, and then one of my friends actually ended up posting it on social media, and I was kind of bummed out a little bit. I was fearful for that negative reaction, but there's absolutely been no negative reaction at all. It's all been real positive, especially from my friends. They know that I'm not trying to, kill these creatures, for some stupid sport,
Yeah, and
so it's totally positive. It's been great.
Talking to you for the little bit of time, we don't know each other, but just a little bit of time, I can hear that you're conscientious about the ocean and its creatures. I can hear all of that, and I think it's great. And it sounds like you've also traveled a little bit, maybe to Costa Rica, Central America, where I lived for a year. So you've been around a little bit, haven't you?
Yeah, a little bit. Mainly just surf trips, though. A lot of Central America, South America, mainland Mexico and Indonesia and stuff. Try to get down there as much as possible.
Awesome. Good stuff. Joel, I'm not even going to ask you where this ranks in your spearfishing adventures because I know it's up at the top. It has to be. I'm going to ask you in terms of life events. You better not get in trouble with the wife and say it's more important than when you got married or anything like that if you are married. But in terms of life events, put this in perspective for me. This has got to be, how many people have ever done this before, for God's sakes? This has got to be way up at the top.
Yeah, it far surpasses anything, And what really, really makes it cool is that I got to share it with my dad, and it was 2 days after his birthday. So we were kind of like set up this trip for. It's hard to coordinate our schedules, so it's kind of like a birthday, sort of late birthday get together, and yeah, I don't think I ever even would have got it without him because he's a really, really seasoned fisherman, gone on all the 18-day. He used to make lures for all the, the commercial 18-day boats. And so he knows his stuff. So he knew, how to deal with it. And to share it with him was super cool.
Man, I'm so glad you pointed that out because, some of the best times I've had with my two boys, Philip and Patrick, are out on the water, catching fish, spending time with my boys. And, man, I'm glad you pointed that out because it's such an important part of being in the outdoors, and fishing really brings families together, and that you could share that with your dad and that is so important to you. I'm glad you pointed that out. That's cool stuff, Joel.
Yeah, and he's he's been raving about it too, and talking. I think he was more elated about it in a way than I was. I was in more shock, I think, just trying to process everything and, get it down. But he's dealt with big fish, big, caught them bigger than, seen them in person. So for me, it was a first for everything, and for him, it was just, he was a little more used to it, but he was just like, oh my God, that's the craziest thing ever. He's like, you're crazy. That was awesome.
Joel, we've seen a lot of crazy stuff this past year and a half or so, and here in 2015 with wahoo being taken and short-billed spearfish and, whale sharks and all kinds of crazy stuff, but this has to rank at the very, very top. And I got to tell you, it couldn't have happened to a nicer person. I can tell that from talking to you, and I'm so glad you got to share that with your father. And I can't thank you enough for sharing it with all of us. What a great story, and congratulations. What a great catch that was.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.